right, and down here at the bottom left-hand corner of Taldrum-Alter, we have our blue Protoss player, winner of the last game from Alternate Attacks. It is Socke. And his opponent in the upper left-hand corner from Infinity 7, their last hope, tasked with killing 4 members of aTn in a row. It is INSUR.
Man, what a rough spot for INSUR to be put in right now. He's got to be feeling an enormous amount of pressure. Not only is the match on the line, but their entire life in this tournament is on the line right now. If INSUR loses in PvP on Taldrum-Alter, Infinity 7 is done with for this tournament. So, wow. Talk about putting all your hopes into PvP on Taldrum-Alter. That's a bold move by Infinity 7. Now, the advantage for that is that it's really got to make Socke think, right? Socke's really got to be scraping his brain right now, going, all right, is it going to be a 4-gate? Is it going to be not a 4-gate? Where's my opponent right now? I need information. I need it as fast as I can get it.
Yep.
So Socke, you know, he's gonna be a little bit worried about this match as well.
And we've seen that Socke's PvP has really dramatically improved. We've seen some very cool matches out of him recently in this tournament alone, especially in the qualifiers and things like that. So,
yeah, he's solid.
Yeah, certainly going to be a quite the match for INSUR nonetheless. But we'll see what sort of strategy he's up to. It's a 12-gate, pretty early gas on for Socke as well, versus a 13-gate, a little bit later gas out of INSUR. That's really the only difference between these two players so far.
Well, 13-gate a lot of times kind of rules out 4-gate to a certain extent right away, just because it's going to slow down your cyber core and your warp gate research as well. So it looks like we're probably not going to see a 4-gate from INSUR unless it's going to end up being a bit late. The popular thing these days has been to go 2-gate robo expand. It's become very popular in PvP, and it is actually a build that can hold off a 4-gate on Taldrum-Alter. So a lot of Protoss players will default to this if they're not quite sure what their opponent is doing on this map.
All right. Well, we'll see what both players are going to follow up with now. As we can see, INSUR taking a pretty quick second gas. Socke has done no such thing. INSUR, coincidentally, does have a lot of Chrono Boost saved up, though. I mean, that is quite a bit. We'll see if that just gets spent right into Stalkers early on. Yeah, he does have double gateways now, so it looks like he's going to go with Chrono Boosting out 2 Stalkers almost right away. Socke, on the other hand, quite a bit of gas saved up for him as well, and he's just sitting on 1 gasser now. Maybe that telltale sign of that very quick 4-gate.
Yeah, you know, I really think that the 3-Stalker opening is a great idea by Socke. I mean, he's going to be able to get out, get that map control right. You do need to be a little bit more careful with that, though, too, in certain situations. You need to be careful that the first Stalker that goes out doesn't get picked off by the Zealot and Stalker that your opponent is probably going to have out on the map in a lot of situations. So you got to be careful. It's a good opening, but you can find yourself behind early on if your control with Stalkers is a bit lacking. Oh, and he does find the pylon right away.
Yes, he does. Socke's going to need to cancel that. No, does not. And unfortunately for him, that's not really going to help out.
It's because he's feigning a 4-gate, so he wanted that to just go ahead and finish. He's like, all right, go for it.
I think Socke's actually 4-gating.
Socke is actually 4-gating. This is not a feigned 4-gate. He's going for it.
Yeah, 20 probes, very quick on, so he's going to lose 100 resources because of the pylon. And we'll see how INSUR reacts to that. He himself has gateways number 3 and 4 coming on as well. Of course, it's going to be a little bit more defensive. He's got 2 additional probes in there than Socke does, and of course, that's just going to allow him to get a couple more Stalkers and potentially sentries out there as well. Socke going to have to cancel this pylon, though. Unfortunately, doesn't have another forward pylon.
He's putting his pylons in such obvious places. It's a little bit surprising here, and he doesn't have enough to go after the 3 Stalkers that INSUR already has. So Socke kind of messing things up a little bit early in this game, honestly. We'll have to see. The warp-in is going to commence here. Oh, the Stalker trying to sneak past. I mean, not the Stalker, but the probe, and it does get taken out. Oh, Socke getting shut down hard so far on this 4-gate. It's going to be a bit of a challenge for him. Here comes the warp-in, though. Oh, losing a Stalker.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So he's lost a Stalker and a Zealot, basically for no real damage.
Oh, no. Socke, I think, is just going to probably GG pretty soon.
They weren't the world's best force fields, though. I have to admit, they didn't trap any of the Stalkers out, so Socke can get through. Why?
Oh, he can. What?
Stalker, what are you? Okay, there we go.
He can't quite fit, but that...
He could on the left-hand side. He was making his way through the left-hand side, but yeah, it takes out one of those sentries. Now finally has to warp in a lot more units, and of course, that second round, of course, off of a 4-gate has to be primarily Zealots.
Yes.
Because the amount of gas you have, we'll see if it's going to be enough.
And here we go. The sentry's not in position. They don't have enough to force field, and now INSUR's going to get chased around his base a little bit. Might lose the sentry too, although that's not terribly unnecessary at this point in the game. Socke still, might do okay. He's got 3 Zealots in here, but he needs to handle that Stalker count, which for INSUR right now is much higher.
That's right.
Nice pick off there, but Socke need to make a run for it here.
Yeah, he's going to pull back now to a few more units himself, warping in a couple of additional zealots, and we'll see if that's going to be enough. He is down to 19 probes back at home, the perfect amount you need to keep this 4-gate going, of course. And we'll see if he has enough. That's such a higher stalker count than Socke has.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really tough for Socke to beat that army now for INSUR. I think unless, INSUR miscontrols quite heavily, he should be able to take this game. We'll see the stalker count not that much in favor for INSUR, so it's going to come down a lot to control.
And here we go. The Zealot's starting to warp in now for INSUR, and that's what he needs to start pushing these forces back. So Socke going to have to make his way back to yet another warp in. So this tug-of-war is going to go back and forth, but INSUR finally starting to pull a little bit of an advantage. Just pick off one, then two stalkers. Hasn't taken too many losses himself. Finally, a Zealot making its way in there for Socke, picking off one of those stalkers, but INSUR is just slowly winning this tug-of-war battle pretty much his entire time.
Yeah, I mean, Socke really made some mistakes early on in this 4-gate, and that's really, really hurting him. I mean, losing the probe, losing his first forward pylon, losing that stalker initially, and he's just never going to have enough to take out INSUR now. GG, there it is.
Wow.
And Socke, yeah, with I gotta say, a pretty disappointingly executed 4-gate in what could have been an easy win for him is now not so certain as INSUR takes the game.